Fat. We're the Phat Peeps.
Hey, peeps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Phat Peeps podcast. This is a podcast where we, the Phat Peeps, get together to talk about stuff and make bad jokes. I'm one of the Phat Peeps and your host, Joey, and I'm here with my co-host, PJ.
Happy Father's Day, everybody. Hobble Baloo. Even though it's going to be a day late, but nonetheless.
Yeah, by the time you're listening to this, probably not. But, you know.
For all the dad bods out there, we got you.
So anyway, like I said, this is a podcast where we talk about things. A lot of the time, those things are video game things. And recently, there was E3, of course. I'm gonna say not the hottest E3.
Better than last year.
In the grand, yeah, better than last year.
A lot better than
because last year's was basically non-existent.
Yeah.
But still pretty weak. Especially there towards the middle, right? So if you might have listened last week, you might have not. But we did a long podcast where we went over almost like all of the different press conferences, and there was some stuff. Microsoft was all right, Ubisoft was all right.
I thought Microsoft.
Square Enix was kind of meh. Microsoft was decent. It was one of their better years, probably. Maybe not. I don't know.
I honestly
it's
thought
hard.
They rocked it the hardest, personally.
No, I think you're definitely right. I think they had the best conference out of like all of the conference. A lot of people think Nintendo had the best thing, which we're going to get to here in a minute. I will say about Nintendo's right off the top is that it was short and concise.
Yeah.
Right? It had good pacing. Microsoft's had good pacing too, but they still had some moments where, some business people.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, yeah, there was Forza. Forza went a little too long, and you got your moments where people got on stage to do businessy talk, and you didn't get as much of that during the Nintendo Direct. It's not as much of a conference as it's just like a.
I think it's the audience
live
geared towards too. Like Nintendo does have a lot more younger viewers as well. So up in the air.
Got to keep them engaged.
Oh yeah, for sure. I liked it though. It was cool.
So we're gonna run down a few of the things that they showed during the Nintendo thing. All right, so the first thing that Nintendo showed off was the new Smash character, which is Kazuya from Tekken. I don't really care about this character. How about you, PJ?
I haven't played Ultimate in so long. I'm kind of on that same boat. I think it's interesting that they're throwing Tekken in there, but I guess it makes sense considering they had Pokemon Tekken, so it's not too far out there. I'm happy for the people that are getting something new on Ultimate. Should be interesting for them.
It's interesting with Smash Brothers because it almost feels like no matter what they announce, you're gonna be disappointed. Like even if they announce something that you're excited about, you're still disappointed because like there's so much possibility, right?
Yeah, and it's like it's never gonna be the one that you want, or if it is the one you want, you're like, it could have been something different. Yeah, they're
like,
kind of in a lose-lose.
Yeah, like I personally, I don't know if I really care that much for fighting game representation, right? Because I think the neat thing about Smash is how it brings like characters from non-fighting games into a like quote unquote fighting game. I know that's a controversial thing for a lot of people, calling Smash Brothers a fighting game.
It's a fighting game. Shut up.
I recognize like where it differs from a regular fighting game, but I think that
fighting game, but
it's a platform fighter. Like, I think that's not to get on a tangent, but I think that's really where it is. If you just put that caveat onto it of it's a platform fighter as opposed to a traditional like 2D or 3D fighter, then you've like dodged that, I guess.
It's the same people that bitch about, oh, it's heavy metal, not regular metal. Like, shut up, it's fucking metal. I mean, if you're being detailed, yes, so be it. But it's a genre. But nonetheless, I
Any, yeah, and I think this one it's fine. I think it's a little boring, but it's fine. I don't know.
same.
Like I said, you're always going to be a little disappointed with Smash character announcements. But like, what do I care? I haven't even played. I don't have any of the DLC, and I haven't played Smash in like a year. So part of that is probably has to do with the pandemic, right? Where Smash is more of a
Group.
in-person type of game that you
Yeah.
play.
Yeah, I get that.
All right, we're gonna move on to. These are gonna be out of order because I put them down in order from the Nintendo website, not from the actual presentation. So I guess Nintendo
If
put
you're
it
going
in
in the order
order
that
of
we
what
have on
they.
our list, pause at number 3 because I need to throw something
Yeah.
out there, or before you get to 3.
Anyway, moving on, they announced Metroid Dread, which apparently I had never heard of this, but apparently it's a game that like was teased back in Metroid Prime 1 like a decade and a half ago.
Oh,
And so like to the point of people just thought that like it was never coming out, but yeah,
they
it's
wouldn't
like
be wrong.
effectively
It probably,
Metroid 5.
yeah.
Uh
When did 4
it's a
come out?
2D Metroid game. I don't
It's been
know.
a long time.
Oh, I think that's Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advanced
But this
is
is the
Metroid
first
4.
like big like console that connects to a TV one in a long time, huh?
Yes,
Okay.
because the one before then would have been Super Metroid
Okay. Yeah.
on the Super Nintendo.
It looks cool.
So,
It looks like it's an up to date side scroller 2D platformer with like the Metroid genre. It looked beautiful, and I think a lot of people are gonna be super happy with this one. Can't tell you, my jaw dropped a little bit with it, and I'm not really a Metroid fan, so the people that were into it probably shit their pants a little or a lot.
yeah, I don't know. I wasn't as I felt a little underwhelmed by the art direction, I feel like.
It's
Um
a callback.
I don't know. I don't really feel that strongly about the designs of like the main antagonist robots.
Uh huh.
They they look a little too like portally to me and I don't know, I just a little too like slick. I kind of expect something more like industrial, more akin to like
You just want it
um
grittier, essentially.
yeah, in terms of like sci-fi art style, you know what I mean? Like more alien and less Mass Effect, if that makes sense.
No, I can get that.
Um but yeah, I don't know. In terms of like gameplay elements, it looks like one of those types of games, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, we'll have to see when that comes out. They showed Breath of the Wild. This is again, like I said, out of order. I think this closed the show. They show a
Wait, before we
short
move on,
trailer.
this game is gonna take your breath away and drive you wild. There, now you can. Sorry, I had to do a
Okay,
dad joke for Father's Day. I had to do something
you know it's
stupid.
probably not even going to be called Breath of the Wild, right?
Probably not. Probably gonna be like something of the tame breath. The, I don't know. Just go. I can't get a good joke out of this one.
anyway, yeah, they showed the sequel to Breath of the Wild. Um, didn't really show very much of it. I actually expected to get a more substantial trailer than we got. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Exhausted the
I found
team.
it okay. Anyway, uh,
Sorry.
yeah, no, I was super. I mean, it could because there's a lot of people that are just like, oh, this is the trailer of the show. This absolutely just is like the best thing out there. And
I
maybe
was
it's because
surprised.
well, I mean, I wasn't surprised. I actually expected more of the game to be there, but maybe it has to do with the fact that like I don't have this reverence for Breath of the Wild that other people do. Like I haven't even beaten Breath of the Wild.
I
Like
haven't played it,
it doesn't
so
like
I'm on the same
I've played a
page.
pretty good amount of it. I've probably played like 30 hours of it, but it just doesn't like it didn't grab me the way that it grabbed other people.
Yeah.
So like looking at the sequel, I'm like, oh neat, Link's got some like new abilities, I guess, or whatever, and it looks like there's some kind of like I don't know, time travel type of thing. Not necessarily time travel, but like going back and forth, like fast forwarding and reversing time kind of thing going on maybe. And that looks neat, but like they didn't really show very much,
No,
like at all.
I will say though, like, okay, so Metroid was a big thing, and a lot of people were like probably super happy about it. There's a lot of remakes of old games, which like I'm happy for. We're not mentioning like Advanced Wars, but like this, I think was their salvation. I think even they realized like their presser was a little lackluster because about a quarter of it was stuff already mentioned, like Ubisoft's game, Rabbids, Mario, and stuff like that. So this kind of like got people pumped at the
Yeah.
very end
And
and saved them a little.
even like earlier pops, like when they started with Smash, I knew it was going to be underwhelming, right?
Yeah,
Because you don't start with the Smash character reveal if it's gonna be a big deal,
yeah,
right? You start with the Smash character reveal if it's gonna be like whatever, and you want people to forget about it by the end of the presentation,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And Metroid was a big pop, but it's only really a big pop for the people that it matters to, which
yeah.
I think is a relatively small amount.
For the
So,
overall
like, you're
audience,
definitely
yeah.
right. Even with the limited amount that they showed of the sequel for Breath of the Wild, it was still enough to just get people's like gears going in terms of speculation and stuff like that.
I like I said, I've never played the game, and I'm not the biggest legend. I love Legends of Zelda for the art and everything like that, but I'm not a huge fan of playing them per se. But even me just seeing it, I was like, oh shit, that was a good move on their part. Just from a business standpoint, that was fantastic idea for them. So I was surprised to say the least, and I'm happy they're doing it. I know John is ecstatic and actually on the fence of buying a Switch now, which is pretty significant for him because he is not a console person whatsoever. Refuses to buy them on any accord, but this is going to push him towards it, and I think that's going to happen for a lot of people that have been on the fence for the Switch for a long time. Like two games that are totally worth it to them now, that are a sequel to each other or like adjacent to each other. Hell yeah. But yeah, we'll see how that one goes.
All right, WarioWare, what do you know about it?
It is classic WarioWare. I want to say that I feel like WarioWare is a cult classic type of Nintendo game. That's my perception of it. I know a lot of people think it's really weird. I mean, you're picking nose hairs out of people's noses in the classic ones and scratching people's armpits and shit. It's very strange, but I'm super ecstatic to see it because I got the first one for I think my birthday uh, way back when, and I played the shit out of the thing. I almost beat it in one night because I played it so much. And the game gets hard as hell, but it's unique. I think it's gonna do okay, and the people like me that are either nostalgic about it or diehards for WarioWare are gonna be happy. I don't think it added too much to the presser. Personally, it was just kind of like, oh, that's really cool. I'm happy they're bringing that back, type of thing.
Yeah, which I believe that this WarioWare and the next one that we're going to talk about, Mario Party, are both I want to say they're like Switch up-res ports of 3DS games. I may be wrong about that, but I think I might be wrong about the WarioWare one, but I think Mario Party was on the 3DS. I think I remember seeing people in comments mentioning that and stuff.
It might
But
be
like
for WarioWare, but yeah.
to talk about the WarioWare stuff, in kind of interesting how they're doing like all of the different characters kind of have their own mechanics, and that influences the way that you do the micro games, depending on like what character you're using. Which is like a neat way to throw like a different element into doing those micro games, which especially if you're going to have a lot of the classic ones, people are familiar with how to do those, right? And I think part of the fun of a WarioWare game is like that frantic, like got to figure out what it is and how to do it quickly because you're on the clock.
Yeah.
So adding that element of having the characters that behave differently,
It's
kind
a
of
strange
puts that
puzzle game, essentially. With like really dumb, easy puzzles, but they're difficult because of that time limit. And it's also based off of your like reaction speed. I'm here for it. I might get this one. I haven't in a long time, but and it's a new, not IP, but like a new in addition to the series. It is not a remake. I confirmed it.
Okay. But anyway, and then we got Mario Party Superstars, which is a like best of the series. This one's kind of interesting because it's like based on the trailer, it appears to only be N64 era boards. So that's like and only 5 of them. But like I said, N64 era, so that's Mario Party 1, 2, and 3. But then it has mini games from all across the series.
I hope
Because
that this one's discounted, like $40, like $60
yeah,
for a thing that's already existed. That's crazy to me.
yeah. I think I agree with you on that one, especially just with like the type of game that Mario Party is.
Yeah, it should always be $40 instead.
But I don't know. I don't know. You know how Nintendo prices things at $60 and usually leaves it at $60 for ever.
Yeah, I was about to say
And
it's one of the few game companies that don't have any like depreciation in value on their games.
and yeah, you know, and it just like seems to be fine for him. Seems to work for him. So
can't fault him for it, I guess.
yeah, you can't fault him for it if people are going to buy it at full price multiple years into its, you know, past when it came out. Then
right. And the reason why is just the monopoly. Like, I guess you could consider it a monopoly on their own games. They, you know, you can't get them on PC. PC really lowers the value on console games because it's like, oh, well, it's $7 on PC and it's $60 on Xbox. What are people going to do? I mean, people will still go buy the console version of it for whatever reason, but it kind of hurts it. Like, why is it so expensive over here?
But I mean, I think even regardless, even for things that are only on console, right? Like Sony doesn't continue to price their first party things at $60 forever. Like eventually things come down in price as I assume it is as they see the sales diminish, right? It's like everybody who is willing to buy in at $60 has bought in at $60, and now let's try to get the people who are willing to buy in at $45. Then once everybody buys in who will buy in at 45, let's try to get everybody will buy in at 30. and there's maybe an element for Nintendo of like Nintendo makes games for kids, and
Yeah.
like kids are continually like both coming into an age where they might want to play Nintendo products, slash B are in a constant state of discovery where they might just discover Nintendo products.
Yeah. Or nostalgia.
So I think that's
like us that are gonna go back and play Nintendo.
yeah.
They're evergreen. They last forever. Like they're smart in that regard. Like last year's Battlefield or 5 years ago's Battlefield, except for right now, is like that's old. That's old school. No one wants to play that anymore. There's a newer, better version of it out. It's like, but you can go back and play Ice Climbers, even though there's a newer, refurbished version of it, and still have a lot of fun playing something from the '90s.
No, yeah. Nintendo's thing was all right. A little disappointing to not see some things there. There was no Metroid Prime 4, no Bayonetta 3, which they just recently, Kamiya came out and was like, we're working on it. Bayonetta 3 is still being worked on. Don't freak out just because we're not showing it.
We'll see it next year, I think.
Yeah, who knows? Or maybe later during another direct,
True.
with the like pacing of how different companies do their presentations nowadays, we might see it in like 3 months.
Right. That's true. Nintendo's definitely changed their formula a lot.
And there's no Pokemon stuff there. Which I guess Pokemon is kind of separate from Nintendo in a lot of ways, right? Like Pokemon has their own directs separate from the Nintendo directs and stuff like that.
And I was gonna say they
but
just
still,
had their 25th anniversary one like only a month or two ago, so that makes even more sense.
Yeah, but still, I would think on like the big stage they might want to show like the Diamond and Pearl remakes, a little bit more of those or something like that. But none of that. But yeah, like I said, we might see Nintendo again in a few months, and they'll probably have more there.
Right.
But overall, I think Nintendo is pretty decent. Out of not the best E3 presentation by a long shot, but like when compared to the other presentations this year, pretty decent.
It was a close second.
All right, we're gonna move on now to something, a topic. It's not really like a news. It's just a thing that's happened. What would you describe this as?
A stock market increase.
I don't really.
It looks like a bubble. That's what it feels like to me. If I want to compare it to something,
Right.
An anomaly. I don't know.
Anyway, recently, EA has had to increase. Let me see. This is on Answer. It's a post on the Battlefield forums. It appears on EA from one of the EA community managers announcing that they are bumping up server capacity for the US West region specifically, but in general, the main point being they're bumping server capacity for Battlefield 4 because presumably they're seeing a large jump in player counts due to excitement around Battlefield 2042's reveal.
That's pretty crazy to me because that game is so old. So I jumped on that bandwagon, but super early. I actually did jump on there to play like a game, and it was so laggy on the server I was on, and the run cycle and everything feels so ancient that I was like, I can't push myself to play this. But I'm not surprised, while at the same time being surprised by this. I knew that they were gonna max out and get really busy, but I didn't anticipate them to jump on and get more servers again for a game that's been like dormant for so many years. So
yeah, I mean this game is almost a decade old, right?
Yeah.
It came out in like 2013. So
around there. So, damn. I mean, good on them for getting those servers though. It's a smart business move because this is how they're going to be able to. They can use this as a test, almost like an alpha, to see how much people are going to be interested in how many servers they're going to need for 2042, or at least get half the amount that they might need. So it works in their favor a little bit.
Yeah, no, I also jumped on this bandwagon and re-downloaded Battlefield 4. And I've been playing like quite a bit of Battlefield 5 recently. Right? So with Battlefield 4, it just like doesn't really play that great.
It doesn't.
And I think there's like a lot of things going on that are like affecting it. I think that with Battlefield 5, they've like so perfectly balanced the classes out and like the amount of vehicles on the map. And I think the class balancing in Battlefield 4 is pretty terrible. I think that one of the main issues I've been having playing the game is that the way that guns behave is just bizarre. And I didn't really remember it at the time because it was like, at the time it was all you knew because that's what you were playing. But now playing like the newer Battlefields where they've like explicitly changed this, going back and playing it, you like very clearly feel it and it feels terrible. But what it is that in the newer games in Battlefield 5, right, the guns have a lot of recoil, but there's very little bullet spread. Like the guns are accurate.
Yeah.
So wherever your reticle is aiming is generally speaking where the bullet's going to go. Right. And when you're, at range, you have to deal with that recoil, which makes it hard to not kill or like to kill anybody at range if you're not burst firing. And there's still like bullet velocity, so you have to deal with leading targets and stuff like that. But it feels crisp, right? And it feels good and makes sense when you kill somebody because you like aimed at them and you controlled the recoil and every single one of your shots were on target and you felt it. In Battlefield 4, the guns have very little recoil, and to compensate, they just have a bunch of bullet spread. So you'll be like shooting at somebody full auto that's 15, 20 meters away from you and just not hitting them.
Yeah, that and then the sniping. They really did clean up the sniping in 5. Going back to 4 and trying the sniping in that, I was like, I shouldn't be 100 feet away and the bullet dropping into the ground.
Yeah.
That's stupid to me. Like, I understand bullet drop, but there shouldn't be any at 100, even 100 meters.
Yeah, that's something they definitely cleaned up in 4 and 5.
Yeah.
The snipers have a pretty good bullet velocity and very little dropout to like 150 meters.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so like in a lot of ways, this is maybe not the best look for Battlefield 1940 or 2042, right? If people are going back and playing Battlefield 4 and kind of going like, ooh, this is aged in a way. And admittedly, like you probably expect players to recognize that, right? The game is old and the new game's not gonna feel this aged. But I don't know. It seems like a lot of people out there that want Battlefield 19 or 2042 to just be a like prettier Battlefield 4, and I could not disagree anymore.
Yeah,
like
that's.
I've gone back and too. I've gone back and started playing Battlefield 5 again because Battlefield 5 feels good to play, and the gunplay feels good and crisp. And the class balance, I think, works a lot better in terms of like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to go to a whole diatribe. I like Battlefield 4 a lot, and I played a lot of it back in the day, but it's just like,
needed an
Playing a lot of Battlefield 5 now.
Of 4 and 5, essentially. They just need the
Yeah.
updated system, but in the setting of 4 and a lot of the ideas of 4. But they're already kind of veering from it a little bit. I'm super stoked about it. We're gonna definitely talk about it in July on the 22nd, like or around.
Yeah.
And we'll probably dedicate one whole episode just to that because we're both really excited about it. But we need more to go off of.
Okay. So let's move on to our last topic here. They finally showed the game release date announcement trailer for Pokemon Unite, the Pokemon MOBA that is coming to Switch and mobile devices. PJ.
Yeah.
Are you ready to destroy some children who have never played a MOBA before?
Don't take that out of context. I'm gonna try it. I have been out of the MOBA scene for about 3 years now. But I'm definitely willing to jump on and play a Pokemon MOBA at least a handful of times. It looks really good. MOBAs are hard for me now. I went back to shooters. It's gonna be fun, and I'm excited to see Pokemon in it, and I wonder how many they're gonna have.
See, I think that's the beauty of it, though, is that it's Pokemon, so its appeal base is so broad.
Yeah.
That, and I think to some extent, most people who like know MOBAs and play a lot of MOBAs probably won't be very interested in this because it'll probably be simplistic in a lot of ways compared to your League of Legends and your Dotas and your Smites and such.
I hope it is, though. I feel like mobile League of Legends is too much. It's too much HUD to put into a little form factor like that. So, I mean, I'm going to be on board if we can get all the Phat Peeps to play it. That'd be really fun to have a whole team of the Phat Peeps just, like, shitting on people. Well, or dying horrifically to good people. Whatever we end up doing first. Yeah.
I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to be very similar to back in the day and when we played a bunch of Adventure Time Battle Party.
I think so too.
Just ran stuff.
Steamrolled everybody.
Yeah.
These people are like, oh, I wonder what a MOBA is.
Like, hey, you don't know what you know about that jungle rattle balls. You don't want to see my jungle rattle balls.
Or AP
lemon grab.
Yeah. Unacceptable.
I miss that game. I wish somebody out there would bring that back somehow.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's listening out there, you know, Diddly Squad about game design, we're here for you. Want to do that?
Cartoon Network should just bring it back. Just release it for Switch.
All y'all that are listening, push this to Cartoon Network. We need to make a stand right now.
We need Adventure Time Battle Party back. Or what if they just made, like, that's the thing, right? Is going down the rabbit hole of, like, what if they just made a MOBA but this, right? Like, what if they just made a MOBA but it was just all the Cartoon Network franchises?
Yeah, that was I was thinking of the same exact thing. That'd be really cool to see, like, Courage the Cowardly Dog and his ultimate's just like him going, ah! You know, and then, like, it just hits everybody and stuns them. Yeah, there's actually a lot they could do with that, even though, like, half the people that are listening probably don't even know who Courage the Cowardly Dog is. I don't know.
What role would Courage be, and what lane do you think he's in? Is he a support? Is he a bot lane support?
He would be a support, and bot lane. God, I feel like we should just do, like, a spin-off episode where we talk about this, like Nickelodeon and then Cartoon Network characters and what they would be in a MOBA, their roles. Trying to think of like Ed, Edd n Eddy. I wonder if they'd just be like a big clump, and they'd be like.
Would they all be separate characters, or would they be like one character that you played as like
one character.
all
that was
three
a
of them in
group.
like a group. Yeah.
It would be one,
Yeah.
and then like you can choose at the beginning or like swap between them, and the other two are just pets that go and like wall them, kind of like a gang.
Oh, no, they would be like one of those characters that like has like different stances. And
Oh.
so it's like they effectively have like 6 abilities or whatever, like because every single one of the stances has a different, I call them 1s and 2s from Smite, but you know them as like Qs and Ws.
Yeah. So Eddie would basically be like an 80 carry and throw like jawbreakers at people.
No, I wasn't thinking like that. See, that's getting wacky, right? When you're like completely changing
That'd be so cool though.
the like class at that point.
No, but League does that too. There's plenty of characters that have stance changes where they go from like melee to attack, and then depending on how you build, you can actually make them dual class systems. So I mean, and it's probably even changed more considering I haven't played in years. At least like make them not necessarily different classes or roles, but like their stance changes. Like Ed when he is in the front, he gets tanky and then he'll like rush at people, and then Double D becomes ranged and like his abilities do more damage but makes the group weaker as a whole. And then Eddie when he's up front, he's like more like a middle range damage and not necessarily like glass cannony. I don't know, I think it'd be cool. Anyhow, this is a discussion. I think like if you guys are interested, anyone that's listening to the very end here, like let us know if this would be kind of something interesting, because I think Joey and I would love to do some fun thing like this and just discuss what characters could be in different things. We'll talk like take the most popular characters from different TV shows.
Yeah, it'd be still. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for us here on the Phat Peeps podcast.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for listening. You made it this far.
Hell yeah.
I want to thank you, PJ, for being here
Thank you.
and talking with me.
Thank you for talking to me.
And we'll catch you guys next time when we're back with some more wacky stuff to talk about.
Later, everyone.
Goodbye.